Hello everyone, this is a special Adronis downloads from Sirius episode. I thought it was a nice day, so I'd come out in nature here and be out in front of the beautiful outdoor energies and bring Adronis in, as he's going to be talking a little bit more about the fragmentation of Earth's collective consciousness as well as off-planet affairs. So this should be a very, very interesting video. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and bring Adronis in and we'll tackle some of these particular topics. So here we go. We are here at this time, and we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis from Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this transmission, this broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. Thank you very much, and how may we assist you today? Adronis, I'm just curious about the idea of the beginning times in regards to where Earth itself started to cultivate itself into a collective consciousness, and how this collective consciousness eventually became quite fragmented over time. What exactly happened? What were the particular pinnacle points, so to speak, in regards to the fragmentation of this collective consciousness? Was it something that existed before the downfall of Atlantis? Is there anything else that you can share in regards to the fragmentation of the collective consciousness? Yes, we will speak more in regards to the idea of the collective consciousness fragmentation. The whole idea is that, like many other planets, your Earth started out firstly in a first density fashion. The whole idea is that it was, shall we say, purely elemental. That all of the elements contained within first density that made it, shall we say, a debris planet, a planet that had a great deal of volcanic activity and was simply existing within first density based life. The degrees of elements, the clouds still looking to form, the sky still looking to, shall we say, adapt itself into a breathable atmosphere. In regards to much of its beginning time, shall we say, there were certain forms of gaseous states that could not support life from what you would know as a second and third density. And throughout these millions of years of time, ushered in the degree of the second density consciousness. The second density consciousness, again, was facilitated by many of the original creators that were a part of manifesting the Earth experiment, bringing forward this planet together. And so many different forms of indigenous wildlife came upon your world. Many different forms of plant fauna came upon your world and was implemented in the way of the seeding protocol, allowing certain areas, in that sense, to house particular types of life. Throughout this particular integration of the second density, much of the life forms contained upon your planet were not really, shall we say, what you would understand as carnivorous. Much more of the original forms of life in that sense were very symbiotic, monadic, and in that sense equalized to the point of harmony in regards to all life that flourished upon its surface. Its priority was more so looking into the idea of the adaptation through symbiosis to work together with Earth. As this progressed and as other particular life forms then began to discover this planet, there was, shall we say, a skirmish that took place. You would understand that many of the original creators of planet Earth had different forms of, shall we say, adversaries that were scattered across through the galaxy. These one particular form, shall we say, of civilizations represented that of what you would know as reptilian consciousness. And that through this skirmish that took place, the whole idea is that many of the original creators were basically chased out of their own star system, chased out pertaining to, shall we say, being able to look after much of the experiment. The whole idea is that this reptilian consciousness came upon the planet, saw in regards to its own, shall we say, status of what was available in regards to its particular flora and fauna capacity, and decided to rework it in regards to their own image. And much of the planet upon that time, millions of years ago, began, shall we say, a new ground relating to these particular beings, as they were, shall we say, apart from your creators, one of the very first life forms, one of the very first beings to encounter this world. As these particular beings, in that sense, established their own feeling of territory and claimancy upon this world, came upon, shall we say, different experimentations relating to what you would know as, shall we say, genetic engineering, manipulation of particular life forms, as well as the database that they personally contained in regards to, shall we say, the creation of certain predatory animals that were distinct enough to allow certain forms of flourishment to take place in particular capacity, particular areas upon your planet. This is what created many of the different forms of predatory animals that you would consider to be prehistoric. This, in that sense, also included the degree of the beings that you would know as the dinosaurs, and they came upon the planet. Their simple function, shall we say, is simply that of what you would know as protection, defense. That much in regards to the animal consciousness allowed, shall we say, this particular form of world to be off limits in regards to certain catacombs pertaining to many of these, shall we say, aggressive life forms that were established based upon these reptilian beings. The other, shall we say, particular degree of why these particular beings themselves flourished the idea of predatory life forms upon your planet is also for what you would consider to be energetic feeding purposes. That the idea of, shall we say, killing another particular animal in that sense held a particular frequency that was preferable to these particular beings to, in that sense, utilize the form of, shall we say, aggression, use the particular form of tactics, use the particular form of, shall we say, that particular type of hunting, predatory prey arrangement, to actually feed themselves energetically in regards to a state of fear. As time progressed and your world began, shall we say, more future colonies with other particular beings that were, in that sense, creating off-world colonies within your own star system, there was a flourishing of other particular colonies that took place upon Earth. That the reptilian colonies were not only the particular, shall we say, settlements contained upon your planet at that time. Other particular beings, millions of years ago, came to your planet and housed themselves upon the surface. Others who were not willing to work alongside many of these other beings, who wanted to establish their own settlements, began working in the subterranes. And so this particular form of segregation, this division in regards to many other different races, was all part of, shall we say, the beginning phases in regards to a fragmented collective consciousness. But the whole idea was, again, to make a mutual effort to where there would be a unification prospect take place upon Earth. This is what eventually later on led to the development of the human race, in an attempt to create unification upon Earth, as she herself became very fragmented in regards to, shall we say, premature intervention upon her world from what really was not meant to take place from the original creators of this planet. Because of the interventions, because of the skirmishes, because of the fighting, because of these particular forms of, shall we say, imposings from other particular beings of the reptilian nature to come forward and house themselves and manifest these particular forms of predatory animals from all walks of life upon your planet. This is what created a premature fragmentation, and that much of Earth's energy remained in a state of fragmentation based upon this state of fear. Other particular beings, mostly, that attracted themselves into this form of colonization came upon the planet, and in that sense, this is where further division took place. And so the collective consciousness on a second density and on a third density level became fragmented in regards to this particular degree of fear. That's the whole understanding in regards to the beginning times, shall we say, prior to Lemuria, prior to Atlantis, in regards to the colonies, in regards to other particular settlements, in regards to extraterrestrials that were, shall we say, many refugees, and decided to come upon this planet and, in that sense, discover their own nature, discover exactly where they felt they belonged, as they felt that the planet was a calling to them in regards to its, shall we say, impartial state of achievement relating to that of purified collective consciousness. That is the understanding. Well, thank you very much, Adronis. That's a lot of information, so I'll try and soak all that in. The other particular questions I have in regards to, I guess you could say, what's happening beyond our world relating to off-planet affairs. There have been many people who I have talked to who have good recollection of being able to go on board spacecraft and, in that sense, attend particular types of meetings that there are certain arrangements and schedulings, I guess you could say for the lack of a better term, of certain meetings and certain arrangements that are taking place in regards to these particular types of discussions that do involve such as the ground crew like us. And I'm just wondering if you can elaborate more in regards to some of these particular meetings, what the basis of much of their conversation is in general, and any other information you can provide on this subject. Yes, the whole idea in regards to this particular arrangement of meetings holds a different degree depending upon who is holding it and who is participating in it. These particular meetings can arrange themselves in many different forms, in the idea of, shall we say, information relating to, shall we say, the status of your own planet, information in regards to certain forms of cultural habitats that are contained upon your world that require volunteers to actually begin, shall we say, incarnational experiences to come upon these areas to allow their own soul contracts to be a benefit within the area. There are also, shall we say, discussions pertaining to upgrades and advancements that beings themselves from your planet have personally, shall we say, had implemented within themselves to gain more information, more on a subconscious level about how these are, shall we say, fundamentally activated and utilized in the appropriate ways. There are also, shall we say, particular forms of updates relating to what is occurring in your own star system, pertaining to certain alignments, pertaining to certain lunar phases, as well as other particular key information, even, shall we say, inner knowings pertaining to what is happening in regards to bringing forward different shifts relating to your collective consciousness to allow more of the integration of light-based understandings, of grassroots that are more fundamental in regards to your unified-based consciousness presence that's looking to come forward. And so there are many different ways, there are many different degrees, there are many different arrangements pertaining to how this is all brought forward. It is, in that sense, quite a complex matter because not one particular civilization speaks the same in regards to certain matters and to certain aspects. But many of these civilizations that are holding such meetings, to where many of you are visiting on an astral level, can in that sense hold the degree pertaining to, shall we say, intervention, understanding exactly how Earth herself is moving more into the integral patterns, the integral facets relating to a unified base consciousness, as well as other particular phenomena that is in complement pertaining to those, shall we say, ideas. Not to mention also the idea of your own arrangements pertaining to the genetic material, genetic stock, enhancements that are necessary to helping you fulfill particular tasks that you too are passionate about. This is what we can elaborate for now on this. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Namaste.